And welcome back to Lantern Corp videos. Today it comes to us from Cutie Kitten 1, who asked the question, what Lantern Corp does Yugi Moto belong into from Yu-Gi-Oh? Now, I decided also to actually add a Tem in there as well, the unnamed Pharaoh who eventually we learned his name with. I will only be referring to him as Pharaoh from here on out because, frankly, I just like saying Pharaoh better than a Tem. But yeah, Yugi Moto, he's your main protagonist, caring, nice, easygoing boy. Not really much to write home about, if I'm going to be honest. I mean, I think there's maybe 3 different Lantern Corps he possibly could qualify to be in, if I'm going to be flat out honest. And to start things off, one of the main ones I think he could belong into is, I'm not making myself disappear, I'm making this disappear, is the Lantern Corps of Compassion. And I'll make myself go down here now, thank you very much. There we go. We see Yugi's actually a pretty compassionate individual, always trying to help individuals, trying to get them out of their funks. I wouldn't go so far as to say, though, it's his most likely Lantern Corps. If anything, it's probably his least likely attribute. Another one that I think is a big possibility, the Lantern Corps Hope. Yugi, to a certain extent, is the one that everyone places their hopes in when facing off against the final villain. I mean, you usually put your hope and faith into someone when they're dueling. Obviously, you want them to do well, save the day. But when it comes to Yu-Gi-Oh! And, those stakes that usually, come from that, it is worth mentioning that, yeah, Yugi is the one who's like, you can do Yugi! Yugi! It's like, yeah, Yugi. It kind of has a lot of hope put on him. But he also technically doesn't. And we'll get to that when we talk about a Tem, or the Pharaoh. But really, if I were to break that, I do think it's green is his most likely color, with blue being a secondary. And the reason for that is you have to have great willpower, which we know Yugi has, and you have to basically be able to overcome great fear. If we're using Yugi from the anime, including the filler arcs, Yugi has faced off against, Pegasus, overcome great fear to get his grandfather back, faced off against the Egyptian gods, the rare hunters, Yami Merrick, had his soul stolen but didn't even blink at it, faced down the great Leviathan in Silvery Calcos, faced off against, helped rescue his friend, the Pharaoh, from the afterlife. So, yeah, Yugi probably, almost certainly, is a Green Lantern. Now, when we talk about the Pharaoh, yeah, we got a lot to talk about when it comes to the Pharaoh, because the Pharaoh is kind of that weird character. He is a spirit that lives within Yugi's Millennium Puzzle and takes possession of his body. But he is a spirit. He's dead. Therefore, he could qualify as a Black Lantern. Now, we will be talking about the Pharaoh in terms of him in Yugi's body, not necessarily him in the spirit world. The thing is, though, the Pharaoh can also sense energy. Like, dark energy is this. I think he would immediately reject the Black Lantern link because he could tell. It's like, there's death surrounding this object. I will not take it. Then you also got to factor in compassion. The Pharaoh is known for being a very good, kind leader, very compassionate towards his people. Very compassionate towards his opponents, too. We see them always trying to help his opponent after the fight. Like, it was wrong. Just trust in your friends in the heart of a card. So there is that as well. Fear, I think, is his least likely option, but it's still a possibility. His opponents never really feared him in the beginning, but as, he showed his stuff, then that's when they got scared of him. So I wouldn't go so far as to say most people were afraid of the Pharaoh, at least not most of the time. It was only when the Pharaoh was really strutting his stuff that a little bit of fear got put in there. Obviously, he could also be a Green Lantern. He's got so much willpower that, he was the Pharaoh. He's saved the world on three different occasions, minimum, with the help of his friends, but still. So I think green is an obvious choice. But I'll be honest, this is where the hope thing comes into. I actually think, among all of these, that blue, he is the lantern of the Blue Lantern. He's a Blue Lantern. I almost fully believe that. The only other ones are strong possibilities, particularly the green. The red, the black actually would be almost definite, but he would reject the lantern ring. But the green's definitely an option. But I think blue is stronger in his case than green, whereas Yugi's color is green stronger than blue. And the reason for that is this. And think about that for a second. whenever, they're all putting their hope in Yugi, which is fair, they're actually putting their hope in the Pharaoh, because let's be honest, the Pharaoh's the one who's piloting the ship at this point. Yugi can steer in certain directions if he wants, but it's the Pharaoh who's playing the game at that point. And ultimately, while they are saying Yugi, it's actually the Pharaoh who they're putting the hope into. So you could make the argument that because it's Yugi's body, but it's the Pharaoh's personality, that they both could qualify for Lantern Ring of Hope, and that's a fair argument to make. But because it's the Pharaoh who's steering the ship, if you will, in those scenarios, I will say I think it's him who is more likely to get a Blue Lantern Ring than Yugi is. And Yugi also puts his faith in other people too, so you could definitely make that argument for Yugi a bit stronger, I suppose. But if I were to break it down between the two of them, I think Yugi himself is actually a Green Lantern. Green Lantern, whereas Atem, the Pharaoh, is actually a Blue Lantern. Now, there is an argument to be made for the Lanticore of Life, because people keep talking about the boundless energy of the Pharaoh, and even in the Beyond Dimensions, I believe it was, that last Yu-Gi-Oh movie they did, which was actually a pretty solid movie, where the guy got possessed by the Millennium Ring and he wants revenge and stuff like that, and he gets possessed by the Millennium Ring. He's like, I still believe in the Pharaoh. Pharaoh comes back, and he comes back all Super Saiyan like his energy's like brr, brr, just Super Saiyan energy. It's like the boundless energy of the Pharaoh. You could make an argument for life. I could see it, but I just think the hope is just a far more reasonable Lantern Corps. Plus, let's be honest, he's still dead. I mean, yes, a White Lantern Ring can, in theory, attach to a dead person, like it attached to Dead Man and ultimately brought him back to life, but I see it more being hope. I think I'm going with hope for the Pharaoh. But what do you think the Lantern Corps for the Pharaoh is? Do you think it is? Do you think it's the Blue Lantern Corps, green, yellow, indigo, black, white, or is it maybe one of the other colors that I didn't mention, like red, violet, violet, sapphire, or hell, even orange? Can you make an excuse that Atem or Yugi are that greedy? I personally can't. But yeah, I'm going green for Yugi, with a very close second being blue, and then blue for the Pharaoh. So that's my thoughts on that. But what do you think? Put in the comments below. Let me know. Thanks for watching, though. I hope you enjoyed. Like, comment, share, subscribe. As always, you want us to review something, put in the comments below. Let us know. We'll do a review of it at some point. So thanks for watching. I'll see you next time. I got a what if tomorrow, and that's about it. Later.